yet another artist here at ArtHop. And your name is so beautiful. Pronounce it for me, please.
Patricia Villalobos Echeverría. Thank you, Shelley, for being here.
Yes, thank you for, well, being in ArtHop. And obviously, it's your turn to tell us about your art.
Okay, so you're in an exhibition called On Set, and the work is really about what sets off migration, what sets off displacement, what sets off movement. And a lot of the times that's political violence or, ecological disasters. So the work that you're seeing is all based on photography, but it has been digitally manipulated.
Yes. So your medium's photography, but yet tell me more. You're using more than a smartphone, right?
No, but yeah, I am using photographs, and actually the photographs that are here, there are two different series. One is called the Marea series, which in Spanish that actually means seasick or tide. It has both meanings. And the other series is called Latitudes. And the Marea series was done from a helicopter in El Salvador, at a beach in El Salvador. So you'll see several bodies meandering in the water. And then the Latitude series was done during protests in the country where I grew up, in Nicaragua. And they both kind of play with this idea of what sets off migration. Why do we move? What are the reasons that we leave the place that we knew behind?
Yet if we look at this particular photograph, it's transposed, or what's my term
Right, so
here?
they've been digitally manipulated, and the works are taken in rapid succession, and then they've been merged and played with so that they seem to be like a seamless, there is no edge. You're just, the seamless sea. And so they're abstracted in that way, but also to speak about this no place that sometimes you inhabit in between two sites, let's say.
Yeah. So we move from the photograph to the lithograph?
Yes, but they're also based off of photographs, so you're correct in thinking about them as photos. And these are works that were photographed during a series of protests that were going on in Nicaragua. And the idea is to only show a sliver of the original photo, and everything else is sort of obfuscated or abstracted, because that's the feeling that you have sometimes in moments of violence or in moments that are, where you're both present, but you have a sense of not being present. And also this idea of being seen, but also being invisible at those moments. So it's also a relationship with media, and that's why lithographs are so important, because of its history with printing, with newspapers, etc.
So how is this made?
So the way that they're made as 4 colors. So the 4 colors are separated in the photograph first, and then you create 4 separate plates, lithographic plates, and then they're hand printed in a really old press.
Wow,
So
there's an action shot.
Yeah, exactly. So they do cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, and you print those together. Very similar to how newspapers used to be printed, where you had them separated like that. Now most newspapers are done digitally, but yes.
But look at this, how I'll say blur. There's a blur, and then there's a clear, and the blur. How did that pattern come to be?
Yeah, so the idea was to only show a sliver of reality of what's going on at that moment. It's as if you never get the full picture. You never get the full understanding of a situation, particularly violent situations. So that's sort of the idea behind the piece.
Yes, and yet you can see, I'll call it a silhouette.
Yes, right, yeah. So they are based, it's still the photograph, it's just been blurred to that point, yeah.
And this is best shown as a series of the 6.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's a longer series and it's an ongoing series. So I am still generating works from that series. But yeah, it's called Latitudes because it switches in sites. So the latitude might switch in the series, but yeah.
How is this experience of ArtHop for you?
Oh, it's great. It's an opportunity to meet people, and particularly after COVID, it is just so nice to talk to people in person and be able to, get their ideas and get their responses to the work. I think it's so important for an artist to be able to have this. So I'm very grateful to the Kalamazoo Arts Council and also to ArtHop for letting me be here.
And what's the secret to a good photograph?
Good focus.
How do we find out more about your work?
I have a website, and it's www.patriciavillalobos.com.
Congratulations on your great work.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.